The Camera by the Confused Camper. Jenna had always been a sucker for oddities. That's why, when she stumbled upon a dusty yard sale on the edge of town, she couldn't resist browsing. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden light across the cluttered tables and boxes of forgotten relics. As she shuffled through the old books and vintage records, something caught her eye. A weathered black camera. It looked old, maybe from the 70s, with a cracked leather strap and a thick lens that had seen better days. The woman running the yard sale, a frail old thing with wide vacant eyes, noticed Jenna staring at the camera. She ambled over slowly, her voice raspy. "That one's special," she said, as though she were revealing a secret. Jenna raised an eyebrow. "Special how?" "Just be careful with it. It's not like the others," the old woman murmured, casting a wary glance at the camera, as if it were something alive. "You'll see what I mean soon enough." A chill ran down Jenna's spine, but she brushed it off. Old people were always saying strange things. "How much?" $20, the woman replied, her gaze fixed on the camera, as if she were afraid to let it out of her sight. It was more than Jenna was willing to pay for something so old, but there was something about the camera, something that made her heart race, as though it was calling to her. With a sigh, she handed the woman the money and walked away. The camera clutched in her hands like it was a treasure. That evening, Jenna sat at her kitchen table, staring at the camera. She hadn't taken a picture in years, but something about this camera intrigued her. The old woman's warning echoed in her mind, but it was easy to dismiss it as nonsense. With a deep breath, Jenna clicked the shutter, the camera letting out a soft whir as the flash blinked bright. She waited for the photo to develop in the small compartment at the side, but when she peered inside, her breath caught in her throat. The picture that emerged was of her living room, just as it was. The cluttered table, the chair she'd been sitting in. But standing in the corner of the room was a girl with long dark hair and pale skin, dressed in an old-fashioned white dress. She stared directly at the camera, her eyes hollow and black, filled with malice. Jenna's hands trembled as she dropped the photo onto the table. The girl in the picture wasn't there a second ago. She'd been alone in the room. Shaking her head, Jenna tried to convince herself it was a trick of the light. Maybe the camera had some odd feature that caused images to appear strange or distorted. But the image, it felt too real. No, it was just a coincidence. She would try again, this time with her phone for comparison. But as she aimed the camera at her phone, she clicked the shutter once more. The flash lit up the room, and as the photo developed, Jenna's heart skipped a beat. There, standing behind her in the reflection of her phone screen, was the same girl, this time a little closer. Jenna's breath caught in her throat, her hands shaking. She turned, but no one was there. The room was empty. She glanced back down at the photo. The girl was closer now. Her face was more defined, and those empty eyes seemed to pierce right through her. There was no mistaking it. She was in the room. But how? The next few days were a blur of fear. Jenna couldn't stop taking pictures. Every time the camera clicked, the girl appeared again, sometimes further away, sometimes standing right next to her. It was as though the girl was getting bolder, her presence more threatening with every picture. Her once blank expression seemed to twist into something more sinister, something darker. Jenna locked herself inside, refusing to leave her apartment. She began covering the mirrors and windows, afraid the girl might be able to enter the real world somehow. But still, no matter how carefully she avoided taking pictures, the girl showed up. One night, she could stand it no longer. She couldn't let this continue. She was afraid. Afraid of the camera. Afraid of the girl. Afraid of what was happening to her. She grabbed the camera, aiming it at the wall, and snapped the shutter, hoping beyond hope that this time the girl wouldn't appear. The flash erupted in the darkness. When the photo emerged, Jenna's stomach turned. The girl was standing right in front of her, smiling now, her mouth twisted into a grotesque grin that stretched unnaturally wide. But the worst part? The girl was holding the camera. The same camera Jenna had been using, and her black hollow eyes were staring directly at Jenna. She was inside the photo now. Jenna dropped the camera, her chest tightening with panic. She rushed to the door, but as she yanked it open, she froze. There, standing in the hallway, was the girl, no longer confined to the photo. Jenna screamed, but the girl stepped forward, her mouth parting in a silent laugh. And then, just before Jenna could run, the camera clicked again. This time, the photo wasn't of the girl. It was of Jenna, frozen in a moment of terror, her face twisted in horror. And behind her, standing ever closer, was the girl, grinning. Thanks for watching, and please hit the like and subscribe buttons for more stories.